Good morning. You are listening to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair. It is currently 8:32 here on the Morning Buzz on October 23rd, 2023. We made it, everyone. Apologize for the late start, but I am your host, Nicole Passero, and join with me today, we have my co-host,
Raj Vinagoda.
Welcome, welcome. And today we have lots and lots of news to get to.
Absolutely. House Speaker race widens to 9 Republicans vying for nomination. After Representative Jim Jordan failed in his bid to become Speaker of the House, a new crop of candidates is jumping into the race. 9 Republican representatives announced their intention to seek their conference's nomination for the top job ahead of the Sunday deadline. Jack Bergman of Michigan, Byron Donalds of Florida, Tom Emmer of Minnesota, Kevin Hearn of Oklahoma, Mike Johnson of Louisiana, and Dan Newser of Pennsylvania, Gary Palmer of Alabama, Austin Scott of Georgia, and Pete Sessions of Texas. A forum for the contenders will be held today. The vote to narrow down the list of candidates is scheduled for Tuesday. This time, a new tool has been added into the mix to ensure the speaker designate. The candidate elected in the initial Tuesday vote can rally 217 quote-unquote yeas on the House floor, the stage that sank previous nominees. Republicans currently have 221 members in the House, and Democrats have 212. Representative Mike Flood of Nebraska introduced a quote-unquote unity pledge on Friday, which seeks the commitment of Republicans to support the speaker-designate elected by the House Republican Conference, regardless of who that candidate is when their election proceeds to the House floor. The majority of speaker contenders have signaled their support for the pledge, with at least 6 of them signing the commitment.
Exactly. So recently going into the backstory of this, Kevin McCarthy was ousted as speaker earlier this month, and now they are trying to elect a new House Speaker. It was originally set that Jim Jordan from Ohio was going to be doing, but he failed his bid to become Speaker of the House. So now they are trying to get another speaker. They're just keep trying to go on. And now that they are going to be doing this, hopefully, they find a solution to this problem, because this is our economy we're talking about here, and we need a speaker of the House, especially
is a representative. They should also know what they're really talking about.
Exactly. They need to know what they're doing. They need to help our country, especially with all the things happening right now with Israel. We need a speaker of the House. We need things to get started on that. So it is good that we are seeing them fastly try to adapt to these changes and to the situation that is happening at hand. But to move towards New Jersey, what's happening in the Garden State?
So here's how New Jersey government plans to counter the opioid epidemic that's been happening in our state. Mobile treatment centers for drug users living on the streets, transportation to services, recovery housing, and peer coaches to help people navigate life after addiction. Drug sniffing dogs, police training, youth leadership programs, and safe disposal sites for unused prescription drugs. These are just some of the ways the local governments plan to respond during drug addiction in the years to come, according to a state report released in late September. That report is the first expansive public look at how state and local officials decided to allocate their first piece of the $1 billion pie New Jersey will receive through the national opioid settlement over the next 2 decades. The money is divided between state government and qualifying local governments, which include the 21 counties and 241 municipalities that participated in the suit and have at least 10,000 residents. Many communities in Bergen County have chosen to focus on traditional prevention programs, deploying police officers, community leaders, or people in recovery to schools to talk about the dangers of drugs. Nationwide and in New Jersey, advocates have lobbied for states to direct the settlement money to harm reduction strategies, including clean needle programs and access to the opioid reversal agent naloxone that have proven to reduce HIV and other bloodborne diseases and save lives. New Jersey has also taken multiple steps in recent years to expand access to naloxone, also known as Narcan, and to support local harm reduction programs. Some communities have prioritized harm reduction in their spending plans and are working with the local health offices and police data to target areas or populations most in need. A dozen people have benefited so far, and the state expects 3 to 4 times that number could be helped each year through this effort.
Yeah, so I definitely think it's good to see how New Jersey is providing plans for this opioid epidemic, like in the recent years,
They're actually helping people.
they are
Helping a
helping
lot of
people,
people.
and I love to see that that's happening here in our state
Exactly.
because this is a definitely huge issue that needs to be fixed as soon as possible.
Yeah, we can definitely see like the kind of work that they're putting in here because they're talking about harm reduction strategies and
Exactly.
prevention strategies, which a lot of people don't think about sometimes.
Exactly. Nobody thinks about that side of things, I feel like, especially, I mean, even going into more locally here at Montclair State University, they held, I think this was, I would say, last semester, even over the summer. I remember reporting on a story about a harm reduction program that they are hosting here at Montclair. This was a while back ago, but just to see that our university and our campus, even in the, looking in total in New Jersey and our state, that they are able to provide us resources to help these issues in our state are really good for us and very beneficial for the people within it.
Yeah, and generally college is the time where you can reach out to these students and be like, okay, this is how, if you ever get in a situation like this and you're in a bad situation, this is how you can get out of it. This is where you
Exactly.
teach the students.
This is where especially this is the place where you learn about these things. You also, the fact that students are able to have like help and to have like resources if they're ever going through something, especially if it's as big as an like opioid epidemic.
Yeah.
It's great to see that there are resources provided to if you ever need help with anything. Those are the people that you can go to.
Yeah, and it looks like the state government of New Jersey is really doing a really good job at efficiently and effectively at like allocating the $1 billion grant that they're gonna get in the next 2 decades.
Exactly. They're able to get that extremely important stuff for them, and to move on to even more getting more into college and student loans specifically. We have some more updates on the student loan forgiveness. So this is, when do student loan payments resume? Federal student loan payments have been on a 3-year pause due to the COVID-19 pandemic, but that will soon be a thing of the past. Starting in October, federal student loan payments will resume, according to the Federal Student Aid website run by the U.S. Department of Education. According to the Education Department, borrowers will get their bills with a payment amount and due date at least 21 days before they are due in October 2023, many of which begin this week, the last full week of October. If you can't make a payment right away when bills start becoming due in October, you have several options. First, you can consider applying for an income-driven repayment plan, such as the SAVE plan, which gives you a monthly payment amount of calculated based on factors such as your income and family size. If you still can't make your payments, the Education Department created a temporary on-ramp period that will last until September 20th, 2024, that will prevent penalties such as negative credit reporting for missed, late, or partial payments. It is important to note that only loans eligible for the payment pause qualify for the on-ramp period, but you can qualify for the payment pause. You are automatically eligible for the on-ramp period and no further action is needed.
This is yet another thing that the COVID pandemic has affected and changed the trajectory of student loans, because they're super important for college students. Like that's how we get an education. That's how we get a degree and get a job. It's putting money back into ourselves and into the country.
Exactly.
And the fact that they're also introducing a lot of different plans, and they are, if you can't make your payments, they have alternative routes, and that is really, really great because it prevents penalties such as negative credit. If you have negative credit, that's like very, very bad.
That's not good. And you're right. The COVID-19 changed a lot of things with our daily lives in general. It changed student loans.
It changed how people look at the world and how the world and how people look at each other.
Exactly. It also advanced technology. Like without it, remote learning would not have been a thing. And I think that's a whole other topic.
Honestly, one last thing. The fact that looking at this is a virus, something we can't even see.
Yeah.
And the fact that a virus, something that's completely invisible thing has completely changed the world in a million different ways is completely flabbergasting to me.
It is. We're flabbergasted over here in the
We are
morning buzz.
flabbergasted. That's a
You're
good
right.
word.
And I mean, with this, I feel like it is good that they are still providing like repayment plans, because student loans are a lot,
They are.
especially depending on what college you went to, the amount of income that you make, and the fact that the government is providing helpful ways to eventually help you, guide you to get those payments in check are really beneficial, because it can be scary when, like, okay, COVID happened, student loans you don't have to pay off. Oh, great, this is lovely. And then all of a sudden now we
Boom,
have to,
you get an email saying, oh, you have to
and that
start repaying your
exactly,
loans.
that can
And
be
people are like,
stressful.
"What?"
It's you're caught off guard, and the fact that the
Exactly.
government is providing these resources definitely are beneficial to them, just to help them step by step to get where they are supposed to be with this new plan. And it is, some stuff is starting this week. It is the last week of October, so
Exactly. So take advantage of the plans.
exactly.
And plan out your life like in ahead, like plan out your budget. Like there are a lot of resources on the internet too for college students. There are a lot of
Definitely.
resources in Montclair State University itself for our wonderful Red Hawks.
Our wonderful Red Hawks.
Love them.
We love them. But with that, we are going to go on a quick break, and we'll be back with some more news.